It's really lonely to be an entrepreneur. You have to have something in your head kind of nagging you all the time, like not satisfied with like status quo, basically.
Hi fam, welcome to another episode of بدون سكر, where talks are not filtered and not sugar-coated. Before we dive in, I know we started the year with a heavy topic last time, but this time I think it'll be a bit easier, and I think I have a few questions that I always wanted to ask, and hopefully my guest today will help me answer them. So one of the questions I think we all wonder is, do we want to start our own business? Should we be an entrepreneur? Should anyone be an entrepreneur? Is it fit for everyone? What does it take to be one? And what's the trade-off? Because everything has a trade-off. So today I have a special guest called Yebbi. Am I saying it right?
Yeah.
I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you so much.
So tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, for sure. No, so as you mentioned, my name is Yebbi. I'm just turned 20 a couple months ago, so I'm
He's
rather
very
young. Yeah, I'm really young, yeah. And I'm originally from Denmark, but I moved to Dubai approximately a year ago. On like a day-to-day, I run a digital marketing agency. I've been doing that for 3 years. Right now, the team is me, and then I have 5 employees. And that includes everything around like the business and also my own like social profiles, and also do my own podcast. So I think that's kind of I think that's kind of me.
So what brought you here?
For me, it was like I lived in Denmark, of course, and I lived in like a smaller city. So for me, it was a lot about kind of having my mind a bit limited in regards to like the people that I was with. And like the like just really my network, because where I'm from, and of course in my age, your usual friends, they go clubbing, they just have fun, maybe like they work a part-time job, so they don't really do anything with their life. And it's not to say there's anything bad with that, because of course if you're 18, 19, whatever, I believe you should do whatever you want. But for me, it was just like it wasn't kind of aligned with what I wanted, so I was like, oh, okay, where can I kind of go? So Dubai just popped up. I had been here for like a couple of vacations, and then I was just like, I like the culture so much. It's warm all the time. The sun is here, and that's just something I appreciate so much, because it gives me so much energy to go out there and put all my energy into work. So for me, that was just like that was an easy choice. And then I kind of made the decision last January, and then I was just like, from 14 days from that, I think I was here, and then so now I've been here for a year.
Welcome to Dubai. So 3 years ago means you were 17.
Yeah, it's
what
correct.
happened?
Yeah.
Well, this is generally you hear of entrepreneurs at least 20s, mid-20s. It's rarely that someone starts being an entrepreneur at before or at graduation.
Yeah.
So what happened? What made you?
Yeah, no, for me, I think it really just came from a long period of time where I was in high school, and I was really unhappy with what I was doing. I was in high school, I was working at McDonald's, really a typical high school student, and then I was just not really happy with that life. And then what happened for me is that like a relationship kind of ended while I was almost turning 18. And then I just all of a sudden had like tons of energy, and I was like really, really motivated to change my life, do something new. But for me, I just didn't know kind of what to do. So all of a sudden, like the business model with doing digital marketing just kind of appeared before me, and I was like, oh, okay, that's it. That's where I'm going to put all my energy now. And also I think it really comes from having parents that always just been like, yeah, whatever you do, if you feel comfortable doing it, just do it. Like, no limitations. You don't have to go get a university degree and all this stuff. So that helped me a lot to just thinking, okay, I'm 17, I'm young, but maybe I can actually do it. And then also for me, it was always like, starting out, I was just like trying out, seeing how everything's go. And then if anything bad happened, I was like, the worst thing that can happen to me is just not being successful.
Did it scare you? Like, you know, because the norm in our culture, at least in this part of the world, you know, in a lot of parts, you go to school, you do university, find a job, you get married. You know, it's a very
it's like the social norm, you could probably say. And then of course it kind of scared me. And what actually happened in my kind of journey was that in Denmark, high school is like 3 years.
Okay.
So I actually started in like the first year of high school, and then when I had went through the second year, I was actually planning on dropping out. So I was like, and I had the talk with my mom and dad, and I told them, okay, I'm probably going to drop out. And then I had the talk with my like student counselor, and she was like, okay, I actually have an idea, because in Denmark, and I didn't know this, nobody actually knew this almost in like the entire of Denmark, was that you can actually pay to not go for the third year of high school, and then just self-study everything, and then you just have to take every single kind of whatever you've been, like math and all this stuff, you just have to do an exam in every single one of them, and then you can kind of graduate like everyone else. So
you don't have to do it at school, you can do it in your own way.
So what I did was I didn't even really study, but you had to like self-study for an entire year, and then I had to take 12 exams, and then if I like passed like the minimum grades, then I would graduate. And then when I got that like kind of opportunity to me, I was like, okay, I'm doing that for sure. Because for me, it was also like, at that point, my business was doing like pretty okay. So I could definitely live from like the money I was making. But I was like, okay, dropping out right now, that would actually be like the easy choice for me. It'll just enable me to do just full-time on my business. But I was like, okay, I believe I can do both. I believe that I can self-study an entire year, run my business while doing it, and then still graduate. And the funny thing was that when I then graduated, and really, to be honest, I didn't study like once in an entire year, and then I had the 12 exams, and I graduated with like above my like class average grade. I was above that. So for me, it was just like, it also kind of showed me, and I also think it can show everyone else, that like you get it, like you learn a lot of good things in school, but also there's also a lot of stuff that you don't actually need. And also you don't maybe have to sit in a classroom for 8 hours a day for 3 years straight to get everything into your head. You also get so much good, and I think that's why I graduated so well, was that I had an entire year of me working on my business. I had my first employee throughout that, like in the middle of the third year in high school. So I just learned so much from that I feel like that kind of really helped me to graduate.
Do you find yourself successful?
I think it's a good question. I think for me, like the first thing I heard about being an entrepreneur and like success was like, if you're able to pay yourself a salary, then you're successful. So of course I was pretty quickly able to do that. But for me, I feel like there's still so much way to go. Okay. Because what often happens, at least from my perspective, is that you kind of get like your first couple, like real, like larger success, and then you feel good about it. And then what either happens is that you keep pushing into that success, or you just kind of relax and have fun, and then it just kind of goes off. So for me, I feel like I am much more motivated right now doing all the stuff that I'm doing than I just was like a couple of years ago. And I think that I still have a long way to go before I am as successful as I want to be, at least. Because you can measure success in like monetary, but I feel like that isn't like the way to do it, because quickly it just ends up you being so focused on the money. And I did this so much in the beginning, and it was such an interesting learning, was that I had a goal to make 10K a month. And then I got to 10K, and then I was like, okay, it was not that fun. And you didn't get that fulfilling feeling that you expect to get. And so I've had that exercise with myself so many times, because then I was like, okay, but at 20K, things change. Things really change. Then it becomes really good. And then you get to 20K, and it's just the same. So I'm so happy that I already have figured out that the money is not going to fulfill you. It's not going to make you look at yourself and be successful. So yeah.
I don't know if you agree with me, but I think entrepreneurship is a lonely journey.
Yeah.
How has that been for you? What did you learn, or did you adapt in any way for being an entrepreneur? Because especially at your age, there's not much to learn from at that stage.
No, that's really true. And of course, I think it's a lonely journey, but also I think it's also kind of your own responsibility to kind of drag your friends, drag your family into it, because that helped me so much, having like really supportive friends, like throughout since I started having one client until the point where now, like, I've seen so much support from family and friends, and there hasn't really been that much doubt. So I think I've been lucky in that case. But it's of course it's so important that you have that, because it really is a lonely journey. And I think the great thing about being an entrepreneur and being like self-employed is that you're kind of you're your own boss, of course, but you're also the one that has to take 100% responsibility every single time. You have to do that for yourself, but you also have to do that on behalf of your employees. And I think that's like one of the greatest things I've learned from having employees, is that if your employee makes a mistake, it's because of you. Either you didn't teach them the right way, you didn't show them way to do it, all of this stuff. So really being 100% responsible for your employees, for yourself. That's at least the mindset.
That's really hard. It's
really hard. And like having for me to be on calls with clients saying, oh, I'm so sorry we did this. This is a mistake, even though I knew like it was one of my employees made the mistake. But I think it's a great mindset to adapt, because it also gives you the possibility to act on it and to change. Because if I say it's someone else's fault, what I kind of also saying is that I couldn't do nothing about it. It's not my responsibility, and then it's just easy for me to let go. And I think it's so much better to say, okay, how could I have changed that situation? And if you always kind of look inwards, it makes it like, I believe my employees would be much happier with me saying, oh, okay, I could have handled that better, even though they made a mistake, instead of me being mad and saying, oh, okay, you did a horrible job, what were you doing? Because it's not constructive and it doesn't really help. But I definitely think it is really lonely to be an entrepreneur. And also I think you have to be some sort of, I don't know what it is, but you have to have something in your head kind of nagging you all the time, like not satisfied with like status quo, basically. Because I think if you don't have that in your head, after maybe like starting out, you'll be so motivated, but when things gets tough and you have employees that quit and clients that quit you just need to be able to sit back and like keep going and keep working instead of just letting it all go. So I definitely think it's not for everyone.
Yes. For everything you said is actually a lot of it is bringing spirituality into it. The whole thinking in words, and it's a very big growth mindset. Where did you learn that, and how would you teach that to someone? Yeah.
I think where I learned it was like from different like mentors, but it was just like actually I remember, and it's so funny, it was actually from McDonald's. so it's so weird, but they put so much emphasis on employees being proactive. And I think a growth mindset basically comes from being proactive along the time. So that's actually where I learned it. And for me, it was just so interesting, because I always thought about it. If everyone were proactive in any aspect of their life, everything would be so much easier.
It's so different.
Yeah, exactly. But the growth mindset, I think, of course, it's something you can kind of teach yourself. But I think you have to let go of everything that is ego. You have to let go of like a self-image of yourself, thinking I'm the best, no one's better than me, I can do it better than everyone else, and step down and say, if I made a mistake, I made a mistake. Like lay flat down and say, I'm sorry, it's my mistake. If others make mistakes on your behalf, say sorry for others as well. Like I think it's so key, but also I think it takes a lot of time, and you really have to get used to it. It's something I try to train my employees to do as well, like the 100% responsibility thing. And you'll have to exercise it, and I'd still do it. Like I kind of just the other day called myself, was like, okay, but it was one of my employees. His name is Oliver. It was his fault. And then I was like, okay, no, okay, I have to remember this is not his fault. It's my fault, because I could have done things differently. So it's really about like practicing, and then at some point in your life, you'll be having issues. There will be mistakes made, and you'll just automatically like kind of keep yourself responsible. And it helps you so much in life.
You carry a lot. So what coping mechanism do you use? Because it's a lot for someone your age, but also not your age. I don't want to emphasize that anyone.
Yeah.
Like when I started managing people, I was a horrible manager at first, and I was the first time I was a manager, I was 25. Horrible.
Yeah.
I couldn't handle it, and I had too many, and they were really young. They were mainly interns and stuff. It was really, really hard.
Yeah.
And it's hard not to take it on yourself.
Yeah, no, it really is. And also I feel like, especially when you have like employees, for me, it's like they are representing me in some way. So, you know, you kind of always have like a way you want them to do things. But also I think it's so important I think if you really like lay off the ego part of things, you'll figure out that maybe the way you think that things needs to get done is maybe not the actual way it needs to get done.
Yes.
So you will kind of change that. But on like the coping side of things, I feel like it's really, really important. It's the way I feel like I solved all my own like mental issues. It's like staying off social media, especially in the morning and especially in the night. So what I do is basically, if I wake up at 7, I'm not allowed to use my phone or my computer before 8. So I always take an hour in the morning to not use any like phones, computers, anything, and also do the same in the night, because it's for me, it's like my sacred time, and I love it so much. Like when I go to bed, or like at 8 p.m. when I put my phone in like flight mode, I can finally breathe again. I can just be relaxed. I don't have to worry about anything. And I think if you have so much stress all the time being an entrepreneur, with employees, with all the things that comes with it. So you'll have to be able to give yourself some time off, kind of some mental off time. And of course, for me, that cannot be a 14 days vacation to Bali, just enjoying myself. So I had to kind of figure out how can I get that like mental relaxation and quietness in my head throughout every single day. So that's the way I've done it, and for me it's been so good, because it takes like, you start your day relaxed, you finish your day relaxed, so it just gives you for me it's just been working so well.
So do you ever rest? Like
I
know you mentioned right now you try it within your day, but do you take time off?
So unfortunately, since I haven't had like a full day off since I started, so 3 years ago, but but like I at least try to do like either Saturday or Sunday, where I only work like 1 hour. It's maybe just like catching up on emails, just making sure everything is good, and then be off, because it's also so important that in the beginning you'll be motivated, but also if you have to, if I need to be able to do this, what I'm doing right now, for the next 5 years, I cannot be working 10 hours a day for 7 days a week. So I usually just try to have like 1 day off, because, and also usually like on the weekends when I get to like the Saturday, I'm so exhausted. So usually for me it's just like, that's just a complete day off, and then I'll just do whatever I want. If I want, and the second I wake up, I want to watch a YouTube video, I'll just do that. Like I kind of, for me it's like a weekly vacation off of like all my good habits, all the good things I'm doing. I'm kind of just having an off day from that, because for me that's also relaxation, just not having to worry too much, not having to think about, shall I do this, shall I not do this, but just have like a day where it's just like you'll do whatever you want. That's, for me, that helps a lot.
There's a lot of wisdom. I'm really like, it's hard for me to say that this has only been 3 years. Like it's a lot. Like I'm very impressed with what you're saying. So are you proud of yourself?
Yeah, no, I definitely think I am. But also, kind of the curse of being an entrepreneur, at least my age, is the curse of comparison. So there's always someone doing things better than you. Always someone doing like making more money, having more fun, having a bigger business, all this stuff. So. On that side of things, it's kind of hard, but yeah, I'm definitely proud of myself. I'm proud of what I've been able to achieve. I don't want to say that I'm proud of what I'm being able to achieve in like my age, but at least in like the time I've been working, I feel happy about that, because I don't think in the next 10 years, 15 years, whatever, we will be talking a lot less about age. The reason we talk so much about age has always been because age was it was really correlating with your knowledge and the way you were doing things. But now you can have like 16-year-olds making $100,000 a month, and you could never do that 50 years ago. So that, I think that's why a lot of people is still with me like, you're so young, how could you do that? But for me it was just like, of course I'm young, but also I've been doing it for 3 years. So if you do something, you put all your time into it for 3 years, even if you're 17 or 25 or 35, you'll probably not make, I don't know how much success you'll achieve, but you'll definitely achieve something. So I think, but yeah, I am really proud of myself, and I'm also kind of proud that I can keep going, that I'm so happy that I'm still so motivated, and that I wake up every single day and just keep on pushing. And but also for me, it's like when you've come this far, it also becomes kind of, to me at least myself, it becomes like a responsibility to keep on pushing and to keep doing better, because now my circumstances are so good and I have an entire team working for me. Like, and I had this discussion the other day with my girlfriend, was that when I was myself, I could like maximum work maybe 50, 60, 70 hours a week. But now that I have a team, we're pushing out like 250, 300 hours of work every single week. So it's also something like that you would never be able to achieve on your own. So for me, that's also so nice, because I know like now we're moving like maybe 3 times the speed that I was doing just 2 years ago. So that's also why I'm so motivated, because I feel like now we can achieve like so much more and we can grow so much further. So that's also kind of what makes me keep on pushing it.
So do you think drive, or what you're describing, is what makes or breaks an entrepreneur?
Not really the drive, because for me drive is like motivation. And when you start, let's say you just start like a completely new business, so in the beginning you'll always be like really motivated. You'll have like this boost of motivation. But I say what usually makes or break you, for me, it's like, what do you do after 3 months of, let's say in my business, like outreaching, doing cold calls, trying to get clients, and you have gotten 0 clients. That's where it either makes or breaks you. Do you keep on going, or do you stop and go back to whatever you did before that? Because everyone can be motivated and everyone can have like those outbursts of putting in work, but it's really about what is like your bare minimum of hours put into work every single day. That'll kind of that is what will either make you really successful or really not successful at all.
And with what you know, can you tell if someone is? Do you know what I mean? Like
no, and that's actually so funny, because I had like usually I don't do like any coaching and stuff, but a guy texted me on Instagram, so I just put out like an hour to talk with him today. And what I've really learned, and it's so interesting, is that almost all people, they know exactly what is needed to become successful. They always say the same, like unsuccessful people and successful people, they actually say the same. They say it's hard work for a long time, all this stuff. So everyone says the same. And this guy, I talked with him today, and it's so funny because he said, well, I've been going for 3 weeks, I feel like I'm doing good. I'm sure that I'll be doing, like, keep on pushing for the next 6 months. And then I was like, yeah, well, I'll send you a message in 6 months and let's see. Because it always just ends up being a battle with kind of our own mental. Can we withstand not getting clients? Can we withstand being unsuccessful for some time to become successful? So for me, I can never ever like predict that, because it's never based upon like the knowledge people has. No. It's always based upon the ability to do something consecutively. And let's just say from our conversation today, I wouldn't be able to say if you could not do that, because I know, okay, you've done a podcast, but I don't know if you would be able to, I don't know if you would do it. It's a good question to ask yourself. Like, would I be doing this for the next 6 months? If people were listening.
I ask myself every day. Actually, every day it's a struggle. Not every day, like every few weeks it's a struggle. Like, I have to remind myself, why am I doing this? No. Does it matter? What is quality for me? You know, what is success for me? Yeah. It's the same thing as, you know, number of followers / or monitor or whatever.
Yeah, and no, exactly.
Yeah, it's a constant reminder that I have to do. Like a lot of times I'm like, I'm tired or I'm done.
Yeah, exactly. And also I think it's important to say that like successful people, they also have off days. They also procrastinate. We all doubt ourselves. I do the exact same thing. I'm like, I've been doing YouTube for 4 months. Yeah. Last 2 months only grew with like 50 subscribers. Yeah. What is going on? Am I doing something wrong? Yeah.
But then it's a lot. It's a lot of mental work. Yeah.
It really is, and it's like a constant battle with yourself. Yeah. But you just have to kind of ensure yourself, always say to yourself that I will be successful. It'll just take time, and I need to be able to give myself the time to create success and not just expect it to come.
Yeah, I think success has been framed in a very easy way overnight.
Yeah, of course, and it's because our life is kind of put as like in the old days like a retail store.
Yes,
you put your life. It's like the outer window.
Yeah,
but they don't see kind of what's going on in like behind the scenes. They don't see the struggles. They don't watch me on the couch on a Saturday eating chips, watching Netflix. Like because on my Instagram, you look at like the successful entrepreneur living in Dubai, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And of course, and it's also an interesting point upon that is that when I post content on social media and I like do like these short format content stuff, and I try to give value, I tell people, this is the way you should be doing this business model or whatever, like 30-second like info. It performs okay. But when I do a video with my Rolex on in front of Burj Khalifa, it's like 10x performance. So it's also like, one thing is that what I want to share, but it's also what works.
Yes,
and that's like the unfortunate thing is that the algorithm and like social media, they push content that shows that. So
unfortunately, yes.
Unfortunately, yes, yeah. I said this to my employees that I wish I could just do a channel on YouTube where I just share really valuable knowledge and then people just watch it. But it's not like that. I have to go out there and make my videos that I don't like, where I show money, I show all this stuff.
Yeah.
Because you have to build up an ethos. So and that takes time, and then you end up like, I feel like when I post these types of videos, I feel like it's not me.
Yeah.
It's like character building, basically.
It's a trade-off, right? Like, you want, if you do something that you believe in, but not everyone, I don't want to say care, but it's not going to grab their attention.
Yeah, exactly.
It's slower.
Yeah, no, it is. And also I think it's because there's so much like BS out there.
Yes.
Like there's so many people saying I'm successful, saying I'm like there's so many people lying. Yeah. So that's also why kind of you have to build some kind of social proof behind yourself. Yeah. Because otherwise, I did a video on this myself, like saying, who should you listen to? Like it can be so hard on social media, because what is success when you look at it on social media? It's traveling, it's cars, it's watches, it's stuff like this. But it's not like move to Dubai. You can do that. Buy a Porsche. It's 50. Like it's maybe $10K. Like you can do all this stuff to make yourself look so successful without actually being.
Oh, it's so easy. Yeah.
And that's why it becomes so hard for people to kind of figure out who should I listen to, who should I not listen to, because who is like who actually has the good advice and who has like the bullshit, I want to sell you something advice.
So will you do that? Will you do the videos that you don't believe in?
Well, I'm doing it already, unfortunately. Okay. Yeah. But
I refuse to do silly stuff. Like I can't get myself.
No, for me, it's hard as well. Luckily for me, I don't do the videos myself. I don't do the posting myself.
Okay, that's
because
easier.
if I were editing it myself, I couldn't do it as well.
But that's really hard. Like when I see myself,
it really is hard, because I feel like it's fake. Yeah. But also, I am really like, I did a story the other day where I like compared two of my latest short form content videos, and I put like said like I want to do valuable content, but people wants to see money. So, and then I just said like, don't hate the player, hate the game. Yeah. And I feel like that's basically it. Because if you want to grow your socials, at least in my like kind of niche, it's unfortunately what you have to do. And then of course it's a trade-off, as you mentioned. Like I would rather trade off kind of presenting myself in a way I don't really like. Yeah. To grow instead of not growing. And it's because I believe that if I get to a point where I can grow so much and people actually start listening to the knowledge I have to share, then it's really valuable. Yeah. So I believe that but of course it kind of, you question your own integrity in some way. And that's also, it's not fun. But I think for me, it's like, I feel like I have a higher goal with things than just, I don't care about Instagram followers, but I care about helping other people. And I cannot be helping hundreds and thousands of people if I have a YouTube channel with 200 subscribers. Yeah. So you also
It's a good way to think about it, because
at least it's my own excuse to kind of accept it to myself.
Because I didn't accept it, so I'm going with the slow growth. It's very slow, but I'm going with it because I need to keep my authenticity, But then again, we're two different products, let's say, No, exactly. And I struggled with me being a product myself as a product. I struggled a lot with it. I get
that. For me, it was so hard in the beginning, kind of putting yourself out there, having videos with yourself, just talking.
It's so hard.
It's really not fun. And that's for me, it has helped me so much, because my girlfriend, she does all my socials, she does all the posting, all the editing. Okay. For me, that's been really good, because then I don't like, because I always have that self-criticism. Should I post that? How does that look? Okay, it's not good enough. I just don't post it. And then she's like, already posted. Sorry, I didn't ask. Like, And
That's really good.
For
No,
me, it's a
so
lot better
hard.
because
So hard.
otherwise nothing would be
Yeah.
happening. I
No.
just need that push, kind of.
No, I agree because like I had to rely a lot on my colleagues sometimes because they've been with me when I created the podcast and other stuff, and they would tell me actually this was really good. This was, they gave me the truth. It helped, but it's really hard when you do it on your own and you see yourself and you cringe. You're like, why?
No, yeah,
What did I say?
just listening to your own voice.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
it's horrible.
that's the most horrible thing. Yeah. But it's a good exercise. Like I feel like I've already seen so many benefits from building a personal brand, and I like it so much, and I feel like I have maybe like 1,500, 20, I don't know how many people, but actually like listening to what I'm saying. But then I'm also like, if I weren't telling them all the truths, giving them all the valuable knowledge that I believe I have myself, then they would be listening to some like BS other guy. So also it's like I've kind of taken it as a responsibility. I kind of want to tell people about the realistic life of being an entrepreneur and kind of removing all that, it's just nice cars and watches and money, because it's really not. And you can get there to a point, but maybe that's 5 years into the journey of struggling and having hard times. And I don't believe you can ever experience the same amount of hard time and stress in a normal 9-to-5 job than you will in being an entrepreneur. So also it's like it's the mental exercise.
Yeah, it's hard. No, I can imagine, because like I know in the back of my head that someday I'll have my own business or have my own brand. For me it's something that will brew. It will happen. But like my brother just started his own company, and I'm worried for him. I'm really worried for him because he's always had a big corporate job and with big brands. So it's starting on your own. It's not easy building your own brand and all of that. So I'm watching him with caution. But I know someday I would want to. But I feel like it's okay that it's not for everyone.
Yeah, no, exactly, and that's also one thing I try to push a lot is that if you are 20 years old and you're looking at me, you should not compare. You should not say, okay, he's doing better than me.
Yes.
Like, because sometimes I'm jealous of a regular 20-year-old working a part-time job, going to school, going to parties, playing like computer games, all this stuff. Like, I'm jealous of that guy sometimes, because it's really not fun sometimes to have all the stress and all the the troubles that I have. So, and also I think it's so important to say that there's not like a better life or worse life. It's just like, I think like you should just do whatever fulfills you the most.
Yes.
And for me, I was just like, I wasn't fulfilled in like the normal life.
Yeah.
But if you are fulfilled and you are happy, you do not have to chase something that I chase. You do not have to chase money the way I chase money. So also I think that's really important, because not everyone should be an entrepreneur, because who should be like the most people be working for then? Like, I think the society we have right now, it's created around, it has to be a small percentage of people going out their way, and then either they like land, like they do a bad job, or they do a good job, and then they benefit a lot from that. And it's trade-off.
I don't know if it's the same in Denmark, but in the GCC, local communities, not necessarily expats, we believe that the ultimate success is owning your own business, which again, I just agree. I don't think that's the ultimate way, but is that the same thing in Denmark?
No, it's actually more different. Like, I read this thing the other day, but it was like the lowest average hourly rate in Denmark is usually for self-employed people, so people owning a business.
Interesting.
Yeah,
that's very different. Okay.
Yeah. So it's definitely not. And also because in Denmark, it's so easy to start a business. Like, you can just do whatever, you'll just sign up on a website, and then you'll have your own business. Which I think it's really good, because the barrier of starting it is low, but also what it creates, it creates a lot of unsuccessful businesses, because that's the thing I like here. At least I only know from Dubai, but it's like expensive to set up a company.
Yes.
And that's good, because it's accountability, and it's also you invest something, you're like invested,
you're committed.
You're committed to it, and that kind of forces you to I have to be successful. That's the problem with Denmark. It costs you $100, you have a company.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's
I'm
so
not
insane.
in Denmark.
Yeah, exactly. No, you'll set up, it's $100, and then that's just it. And also
it's nothing.
Yeah,
really.
no. And also another thing is that the average Danish company is goes bankrupt within the the first 5 years, and I think it's like 80% of companies.
That's a global
that does that.
as well. That's a global number, let's say. But for different reasons. But
exactly. No, but I think it's good in Denmark because we have innovation classes in school and stuff. So we try to push people. But what we also do is that we create a safety net around people. So let's say your business doesn't go as planned. No worries, you get welfare, all this stuff.
Interesting. So do you think the risk factor has a role?
I definitely think it has a role, but I think maybe it's like a little bit rough. But I think it has a bad role on people, because it's for me, I love the term called skin in the game. So it's like putting a hand on the stove basically, but it's like you kind of have to be successful and like pushing yourself towards that. And I feel like if you give the people opportunity to say, okay, no matter if I'm successful or not, I can just go have welfare. And that's the thing I like here in Dubai. It's like, if your business goes bankrupt, you'll have to go. Like you cannot stay here. Either you have a job or you don't stay here.
It's true.
And I feel like it's really good accountability, and it kind of you kind of have to make sure you succeed. And that's also what I suggest to a lot of people when they start out is like make a public Facebook post saying I started out as this, because what happens is that it makes it embarrassing it doesn't make it embarrassing not to be successful, but at least it makes it embarrassing if you're not trying. And I think that's so key, and like
that's accountability, and we are social people. Like
community matters, and social contracts are so big.
Everything matters.
So if we go out there and we tell our entire Facebook friend group, it's your family, it's all your friends, it's everything, and you say to them, I'm starting this business, I'm going all in, I want this to be a success. You don't want to be the person at the next family gathering in 3 months. How's the business going? Okay, I stopped that. Like you don't want to be. You want to be the person that can say, yeah, it's going really good.
Yeah, of course.
We just got our first 2 clients here. I want to keep on going. Like so creating like social contracts to stay accountable. That's really important. For me, that's also a part of the reason why I got my first employee. It was kind of accountability, because not only do I wake up and work for me, I also work to make sure I have an employee that can work for me. And now I'm just so caught up in it. All the employees, all the social contracts, all my social media saying you shouldn't quit, all this stuff. Like I could never quit, like because it would be like so tough on my ego, because we all have like still. I try to let go of my ego, but we all have it. For me, it would be way too hard. Like I would never be able to do that, and I think that's kind of good, because that also makes me believe that I would never stop what I'm doing.
So I'm going to ask you 2 annoying questions.
Yeah.
Does being an entrepreneur stroke your ego?
Yeah, I think it does. Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, I think for me, at least myself, I remember I always like kind of chased my like first like watch. Of course I was like, okay, I see all the Instagram guys, they have a Rolex, I want a Rolex.
Of course, yeah.
And of course I've always been like, that's definitely an ego thing, because of course that's basically it. So of course for me, I believe like I still have a lot of ego, and I'm proactively working to kind of get rid of it in at least some scenarios. But I feel like it's for me, where I don't want an ego is in my relations with my family, with my friends, and with my employees. I think that's where I want to let go of my ego entirely. I don't think there's an issue in having a ego when you're out with people you don't know or whatever. I just feel like if you're always nice, you're always genuine, you'll create good relations with people, and then you should just always be able to say, I did a mistake, I could have done things better, that was my bad. And even though maybe it wasn't entirely your own bad, like own mistake, instead of being like, but it was also your mistake, that's not the right thing to do. You should just always be able to take accountability of whatever you do yourself. Yeah, but of course I struggle with it all the time as well. Like, and I focus on ego. Like, of course I like driving a Porsche. I like doing all that stuff because it's social. Like, it's status.
It's
like
status.
People look at me and they think, okay, that's a nice guy.
Like in my first salary, I bought a small like Coach, and then what was it? Then I bought 2 designer handbags recently. The last one I was like, okay.
Yeah,
I thought it would fulfill me. It's nice to have. I love carrying it. I love carrying it. I know I'm not going to deny it, but it wasn't as fulfilling as I thought it was.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and that's what we figured out. And that's what I figured out when I got the watch, was that after a couple of weeks, it's
You're
just
like, okay.
a watch.
Yeah, it's just a bag. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and also, and like when I was back home for like Christmas, I also like, I don't know why, and it's just like the ego playing, but I was just like, when I was walking out in public, I was feeling better with my watch on than without it.
Of course. I feel the same with the bag.
No, exactly, and it's just, I
And
think it's kind of inevitable to have that. I wish
it's hard to unlearn it. It's very hard. It's good that we're aware, but it's very hard to unlearn.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
And also, you kind of, you work so hard for it. So also, I think it's okay to have some satisfaction in getting like the things you really want. And then, as you mentioned, I think it's just so important to be aware, why did I want it?
Yeah,
because I had the discussion with myself the other day, because I was looking at like a new car, and then I was like, why do I want it? Is it because I'm unhappy with my current car? Is it because I like the idea of me on Instagram with a new car?
Yeah.
And then I kind of, I was like, I probably know why I want it.
Okay, that's good.
I just probably shouldn't have it then.
Okay, that's good.
So it's like, it's a good exercise to have for yourself. And then I said this other thing the other day. I think it was actually really clever. I said something like,
I'm glad you call yourself clever.
Yeah, exactly. No, I said something like, would you still buy it if you couldn't show or tell anyone? It's such a great question to ask yourself.
It's a good question.
Because why would I have a Rolex if I couldn't show or tell anyone? It's not to show the time, like tell the time.
Unless you really love
you're like
watches
really passionate
and
about watches.
God,
But I also
you
feel like
love
when
the
people,
mechanics.
when they say that, it's always like just to cover up from the ego
it's a nice
thing.
excuse.
Yeah, exactly. No, so I think it's a good exercise, because it kind of forces you to say like, why do? And then you can, as long as you agree with yourself, I want it purely because of ego.
Fine.
That was me with the watch, and then I was like,
don't deny those
wonderful,
parts.
I'll
We
just do it
shouldn't
still.
Yeah, we
like,
shouldn't
because I want that.
Yeah.
But as long as I kind of present to myself, this is why I want it, and don't lie to myself saying, I'm such a watch passionate, I love watches. No, I don't. I just want to look better. I just want to add to my social status.
Okay, the last question. What happens if things fail?
Yeah, for me, actually, I just told this. I just had like a call before this, and what I said was like, the worst thing that could happen for me is going broke, and then I just have to go back, move to Denmark, live with my mom, and I love my mom, so it wouldn't be that bad.
Okay, so you made peace with that. You made peace. I hope it doesn't happen.
Yeah, no. So for me, I was like, because I know that I could go broke tomorrow, and I could easily in a month or two be making 10K again.
Yeah.
Because I know exactly what to do. So for me, it was always just that's my perspective now, is that I don't care if of course I want to be successful, but the worst thing that can happen is basically just me having to move back with my mom, which I would love because she's so nice and I can be closer to my family. It wouldn't be that bad. And then I just start over, and then I'm sure if I start over in...
So you would start over again?
Yeah, no, I definitely...
Would you ever consider working in a job? Getting a job?
No, I don't think so. I think, I just think... But maybe, like, because there can be really good jobs as well. And I believe, like, the job that I provide myself is a job that I would have myself. So being able to work remotely, which means you can travel.
Yeah.
Being paid upon performance. So if you do a good job, you get paid more. Like, so I think I could be happy in a job that has, like, the same aspects of being an entrepreneur, but without the actual responsibility and stress.
That's very interesting, actually.
So in that way, I believe that I could have a job. Because if I'm performance-based, I can work from wherever I want. I can kind of make sure when, like, I can decide when do I want to work. I don't have to show up at 8, I don't have to show up at 9. Then I could imagine it, because that would basically be what I'm doing now, work a bit less. Maybe that would even be happier. I don't know.
I think employers need to listen to you. So we just our company just reopened its office. Opened a new office, and it's a beautiful, amazing office. But a lot of my team are Gen Z, and a lot of their career has happened while we're in COVID. Yeah. So I have a mix of careers, right? And when COVID happened, I was one of the last people to leave the office, because I was like, I don't know what works from home, how to even imagine working from home. Like, how does this work? I couldn't get, Then I got used to it, and I really liked it. Yeah. And then it was really hard to go back to office, and I got used to it. But now, when they're mandating everyone to go back to the office, I think the most unhappy were our Gen Z. Yeah. And I agree with them, because so there was I don't want to call it an age gap, but it is for now. The older management, let's say, just don't understand why they don't want to come back. They don't understand why the older management wants to come back now after everything has worked, you know? It's a big change of mindset that exactly. You're explaining it very well.
Yeah. No, because you kind of have to for me, it's pretty easy answer because it's like, what do you really want?
Yeah.
You don't really care that much about making. If you're just making a comfortable salary where you can buy kind of what you want and not insane things, but just have like your basis, everything covered, then you're happy. Then you want freedom of time, you want freedom of place, but you do not want the stress of being an entrepreneur. So that's usually what I suggest to people is like, look for a job that can provide you that. And just don't bother being an entrepreneur because it'll bring you so much stress and unhappy things. Yeah. And like I'm like dissatisfied like a lot of the time. Like, I'm unhappy.
That's a hard state to be in.
Yeah, it is, and for longer times. And but also I feel like, I don't know, but doing it for so long, you get kind of comfortable with that feeling, and it kind of.
And maybe you would feel uncomfortable not feeling that way.
Yeah, no, like I couldn't imagine a life without stress and worries. Like, what then?
What kind of life would it be?
Are you then just happy all the time and do all the stuff? And it's also because I know everyone has struggles. You could you could have all the money in the world. You could have to never work again. You'll still have loads of problems. So like you cannot solve all your problems just with like the money thing.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think if you look for a job in that kind of way, you can apply it at my business. You can kind of do the entrepreneur things without actually having to go through. It's kind of like a cheat code basically.
Yeah.
You won't get paid as much, of course. But you can still get paid good. And what one of my employees did it's so a smart move of him. So he moved to Thailand where the living standards are a lot less and things are a lot cheaper. Yeah. So he probably got like $3.3K a month, and his living expenses was like $500.
Very, very nice.
And I just came back from a week in Romania. Yeah. And we were at the most expensive club. We were at the most expensive country club of like all the richest people. Yeah. And I was like looking at the menu and I was like, oh, okay, they should imagine being in Dubai. Like
exactly.
This was so cheap. Like so cheap. And so that was my thought exercise the other day. Was like, okay, if I just lived here, I made $7,000-8,000 a month, like dollars. I couldn't do anything more with more money. Like I would be at like the top 1%. I couldn't do anything better, like there isn't anything better than that. Yeah. And I think for me that was like a nice feeling, because then I know that if anything goes wrong, I just need to get back to 8K, move to Romania, and then I can
not a bad place.
I can still be at like the top 1%. So I think that's interesting at least.
Well, I'm glad you figured that out. Anything else you want to add before we wrap up? Any message? Any last thoughts?
Yeah. Okay. I think I have a good message, and it's really it's mostly for like younger people, because I think that those are the ones that I can kind of resonate with. It is really to kind of let go of everything that is called expectations. So expectations from your social life, expectations from your parents, expectations from friends, from the box that you're put in, basically. So kind of try to look yourself and try out different stuff. Don't be afraid to fail. It's the same thing everyone says, but you just have to do this exercise. I did this myself. Like, try to do an exercise where you write down what happens if I fail miserably. Like, I do like the worst thing ever, go bankrupt. What will then happen? And then you'll have like a page written down, and then whenever things are tough, you can just look at that and you can say, not that bad. Not so okay, bad, I'll keep just going then.
That applies to everyone, not only young people. That's everyone.
Exactly. but then the other thing is basically just stay off social media. I don't have any social media on my phone, at least. I have it on my computer, but stay off all social media.
So you don't use social media for personal use, just
Never.
Promotional use.
Yeah. It's
I wish I was you. I wish I could say the same.
Yeah, but when you figure out what social media does to your mental, like it's really it's a curse. Yeah. Social media, the news, all this stuff, I stay away from everything, because I know what it gives me. It gives me an unhappy feeling. It gives me a feeling of everyone else than me doing a better job than me, and that's like the most insane thing, because I think that I'm actually doing a better job than most other people. So it's so weird for me to look through my stories and then have a feeling in my stomach after that. Okay, a lot of people are doing better than me. Oh, okay, I'm not doing good.
That's
not nice. Like, at least that was just my own experience. So I was just like, I'll cut it off. The same with like the news. What does that give me? It makes me unhappy. uncertain,
Yeah.
like makes me afraid.
Yeah.
Is that free feelings I want in the morning when I get my day going? No.
No,
So I
that's
just
not
cut
you
it
understand.
off.
Yeah.
But it's like the norm. It's like everyone uses social media. Everyone
Yeah.
watches TikTok and Reels and all
Yeah.
this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's
Well, it is addictive. It's engineered that way.
well, it works.
But no,
like,
I know
it
it
really,
works.
really works.
But I agree with you. It is, it's going against the norm.
But you can help
Yeah.
yourself so much if you stay off socials, don't watch the news, and then just try
Just do
to
you.
do everything you just want to do. Be happy if you want to go out there and be like that's the wonderful thing about the online age is that you can basically make a living off of everything.
Yes.
Like if I told my parents, if my parents were told 30 years ago, oh, you can make a living from doing like this thing called advertising on like a social media platform.
Yeah.
You can make a living. Yeah, I'd be like,
what?
never. And
Yeah.
like there are people making a living from doing a TikTok, creating food. Like you can basically do everything.
Yeah.
So just try out, see for yourself, and then always look back. Okay, this is the worst thing that happens when I fail,
Yes.
and then don't worry.
So much wisdom. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for taking the time.
And thank you for being vulnerable and honest, because it's hard for anyone.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll stay in touch. And thank you guys for tuning in. Let us know what you think. Is entrepreneurship for you? Do you consider it? Has Yebbi changed your mind or encouraged you? What did he do?
Yeah.
Let us know more.
A bit of both, I think.
Tune in. Thank you.
Thank you.